Good evening, everyone. This is what you call finishing up some stuff from before, some of which is last week's, week before maybe. This is a piece I think that we turned last week, if I remember correctly. And I said I was going to burn it, which I did. Now I just have to figure out whether I'm going to go blue or purple. Let's do blue violet. This is one of the chameleon flake ones. This has lots of texture to it because of being burnt. Hopefully we got enough shellac on there to, this might not be a grand idea though. So it might not be. Usually the stuff with the chameleon flakes is not going to look very well done in the grain. Especially not when it's that deep. So blue it's going to be. Or purple. Let's do purple. This one may create me some extra work, unfortunately. Didn't get, it was up here that I didn't get quite enough shellac on it, but I just have to deal with that a little differently. These will use considerably more of this Guild cream because those ridges are actually pretty deep when you scorch it like that. That's going to take a wee bit more to get down in there to stiffen them up. We'll get her there. A little bit more challenging to go across the grain on this stuff as well. What's up, Al? This is actually the piece from last week. It got the torch treatment. It's quite well textured. If you've never tried that, you should try it sometime. It's actually kind of fun, especially if you like to play with fire. Outside, never in the shop. At least for me. I like my house where it's at. Don't need to burn it down. We're just filling the grain. This one we'll probably have to let it dry and then take some mineral spirits over the top edge of it. I sprayed this with shellac the other day, but it didn't seem like it sealed it up quite as well on the top. Usually the hard bits on top get sealed really well and what's underneath doesn't get sealed as well. This one just doesn't appear that it got overly well sealed all the way around. These would actually probably be almost easier to use some of the wax-based stuff. It's a little thicker. Try not to end up with purple fingers. Getting lots of it back off. Probably not enough of it. It's tearing the paper towel up. It's so rough. I think I'm going to just leave it sort of as is and let it set up. And I'll come back with some mineral spirits a little bit later. That way I'll take the top bit off. Try not to do that. It's going to be the issue. I just rubbed it right out of the grain. I got a whole lot still sitting on the surfaces that I don't want it sitting on. There's so much of it there, it's rather challenging. But if you grab it with just a paper towel, there we go. Now we'll just let that set up. That way we can do something more fun than that. Wouldn't hardly be a live stream if you didn't make a bunch of chips fly. These are the little guys from actually a couple weeks ago. Same deal. Black grain filled. This is purple. The other one's blue. And maybe I'll do the other one first. Yes. That's being lazy. I have to change chucks to do that one, so we'll do this one first. Oh, listen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet. It would be fun to have some relatives in. I don't have that many. Most of my relatives are close by. least any, I put it this way, any that I actually really associate with are close by. See if we can knock the edge off the tool real quick, like it probably will. Got some shellac and lacquer on there. It didn't seem to do too bad. Hang on a second, I got an error message up here. What the hell is that? Didn't like how I did this tonight. Huh. One and one is using the primary URL. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Now you have to let me know if it acts funny. Did something it didn't like. Could be a bit thinner. Like I say, shellac and lacquer on there didn't do any justice to that cutting edge. Gotta be careful with these little ones. You really can go through the center of them pretty quickly. Switch to a shorter angle. I'm thinking about doing these little ones. They are very quick and easy. If we have left a hump there, so we got a little more room. That should be it. Still a hump. Okay. Paper time. So have a go with the big one. That should be about the radius we need. Yep. Should only take a little bit. Feels pretty good. Fuzzed up a little bit. Nothing a little sandpaper won't take care of though. A little dust collection. Since we got a little pickup grain in there, we will start at 120. Still a little bit left. That should erase it quick enough and easy enough. Yep. These are oak, red oak, I think. $150. Let's go right straight through. Not much of a jump between 150 and 180, but A little bit of hand sandpaper on this, just on this outside edge. Want just a hint of the color sticking out, and no sharp edges up there. It's pretty much one done. We'll finish on the inside. We'll be done with it. A little bit of the old trusty Parfix 3408. Quick and easy and good results at the end. I'm gonna wipe off the excess. And this one will dry naturally. I'll spray the activator after. The activator will land on the lacquer and has a tendency to leave little white spots. So there's inside. Outside is the color shifting flakes. They really look more purple than anything. Only about three inches in diameter. I don't know. 3 3/4. About inch and 3/4 maybe. Something like that. Turned out to be a nice day here, or at least this morning was. Nice, lovely day to go and do your 100 clays and have some fun. Probably gonna switch to the longer tool rest for this guy. Maybe wouldn't have had to, but let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one was the one I used last? Well, these are definitely not as sharp as it could be. So we'll get through the yucky part out here first. Stuff is really dusty. I think we're going to add a little, unfortunately, a little noise to it. Definitely dulls them quickly. I'll switch to one that's sharp. Now let's see if we can give that a little bit of an undercut. It's like there's even some wormholes in there. Huh. I did remember there was some on the outside. Interesting. Not a very big undercut, just a little bit. Pretty much leave it flat rim. That's what I had started it with. I pay attention. This one is considerably shallower than the other one. I've got room. Yeah, should take care of that. This time I'll just cheat, go right straight to the scraper. I'll have quite the curve. I went right there to there. And since it's pretty shallow, I don't necessarily have the room down below. Still not that sitting too high. Always forget this one here is real thick as far as the scraper goes. Just want a little downward angle. That takes care of that. Another rinse and repeat. Got that piece of sandpaper shot. They probably all are. There are all the tool marks. Still there's a little bug hole in there. And now I think it looks good. Little bug hole looks like a white streak that I missed something in there sanding, but that's why I stopped and looked the last time. I'll stop after this one and check it again. That's what I'm seeing, that stupid little bug hole. When I spin it, it looks like there's a line of torn grain running around there that's not there. Could be a tiny little bit at the top there, but Two more to go. Look at something here. That looks alright, I guess. Where am I at? Put some finish on. A little bit more rinse and repeat. I'll fill my little buddy bug holes up. Not run down here the side though. Probably quit putting too much in there. It could come out the other side. That wouldn't be a good thing. Number two, done. There you got the little, this one's straight up purple on the outside. That's the look of it I want. The rim is not quite as nice because of the couple bug holes that ended up right on the rim. I figured I was in no man's land if I tried to keep cutting them out. So, just left them there. So now what do we do? I was really planning on doing something more with that purple one. Should have did that one ahead of time. I think I have some more stuff over here to do. I know I have more of these little guys to do. Getting to about the end of them, I think. Yes. Yeah, we're down to 3. That's what we'll do. That way they should meet going out of my hair. Only difference is I don't have the shark jaws on, but you just use the standard jaws. I'll do the same thing. These have a recess already drilled in them. It's really meant for the shark jaws. Also, I didn't drill a very straight hole in there. I think that straightened it up. Guess we'll find out. I guess. And we'll get it started with the other bow guides. The normal swept back wing bow guide first, and then we'll go sharpen. Bring the live center up. No point not to at this point. Don't need to. Also, don't need to point. So we'll remove that point. Don't need to have to take an extra 1/8 of an inch of material off of there just because I was too lazy to take it out. We'll just bring a little pressure up. And I think we're still pretty good, pretty well on the screen. Not quite that close. The dreaded thump. We'll start out slow, bring our speed up till we get some vibration. This stuff does not have any bark on it, so it's not going to do much for you as far as throwing things. Guess if you're a little more energetic, you would actually take the time to cut the corners off, but these are pretty small. But now we got it in balance, so we can bring our speed up a bit. I should be getting close or there on that side, not on that side. A little bit more. think there's actually a vermin hole in there too. That should be, uh, that's going to be close enough. Till we get a round shape to it. I think that'll be good enough. Where did this razor blade picking up here? Look in there and trim that, screw that face up a little bit in there. It wasn't too bad, but another one of them scenarios over you're there, you might as well. Rid of a couple of the hairs. They're a little distracting when they're flying around towards your fingers. Question will be, is it big enough? Maybe. We'll see. See whether that's, you can get away with that. Not, not quite. Don't believe. Use a spindle gouge for the tenant. Flash foot. If I get rid of all that bark. Tiny bit showing right there, but that's good enough. You take a little bit more off there, up there. Let's see, where is my... This is the one that needs sharpened, but problem when you got two of them that are almost identical. And it's not sharp. So, quit playing around with it and just go sharpen them both. And like I say, they're sharpened at two different angles. One's 55, 160 degrees. Not a lot of difference between them. Just something I was being weird and playing with a little bit. Now we should be ready to finish her up. Forgot to take my face shield off. Sorry. I always forget that my big head gets in the road on that number. I guess that looks like about a good enough size for a bead. Spindle gabs using the lower wing. Nice gentle touch. Sandpaper takes care of the little point that's left over. I do have the shear scraper in the handle, so we'll use that to get into my tenant area. It's got a little character to it. For a piece of crappy little walnut, little tree branch walnut. Kind of the only problem with these really little ones like this, you almost have to sand them by hand. And let's go the other way. Let's see part of this bead this side, get the rest of it from the other side. Seem to have left some big scratch lines in there. This stuff is not actually as dry as what it could be either, I'm sure. That'll work. Ooh, well, that don't work. How did I miss that? It's got some picked up grain on the end grain right there. Two places. Well, we'll just have to do a little power on it. A magic eraser. That work. How you doing tonight? By the way, I should have sanded them right off the bat rather than screwing around with hand sandpaper. That's good. Ugly wormhole. And this is the black walnut, so the dust collector will stay on for sure. I'm about half allergic to it. Fingers are lying to me. They ain't not quite deep enough. Really more interested in making sure that I have a nice clean curve the whole way through there. Once again, these small ones, it's almost easier just to pick up the scraper and do that last bit in there, especially when they're this size. And you almost always get a better curve. Pay a little bit of a price for the better curve because it's scraper, especially on some of the stuff like this walnut, is not leaving me the cleanest cut that I would, as clean of a cut as what I would like. But now I have my curve right, so I can make one more little cut. I have more than enough material in there, and we'll clean it up that way. Still not liking that curve, kind of too abrupt for my liking. I guess we can be happy with that. Not really happy with my bead up here though. Really probably should have did this before I got the bottom taken out, but just have to be gentle. Nice handles way down at my side. Barely removing any material, but there's what I was removing, there was actually some grain that was picked up right there. So that's going. For me, it's all about the least amount of time I have to spend sanding. This will have to sand by hand. Oops, did I knock the camera crazy? Yep. Felt my arm bump it. Once again, we got a bug hole in there. I can feel it as it goes by, and it bumps in my finger. Now I go in and do the inside. I'll try it with the soft pad once rather than switching the pad. See if it gets me in trouble. There is a little bit of picked up grain up close to the rim. Forward helps. Got rid of all the crappy looking stuff. It's fine and dandy to me. you call no time like the present. Might as well finish it up. Oh, that's discouraging. My tenant needed to be a shade bit smaller. And we'll just finish the inside and then we'll come back to that tomorrow. That eighth of an inch left marks on the inside, or on the tenant. So that's much more challenging to get it back in sort of alignment, so to speak. It's not impossible. It doesn't have to be perfectly lined, but I can't do the way I would normally do the outside first and then the inside. I still might be able to get away with it. If I put a piece of wax paper in there, it'll be all right. Got a bit of character for a small piece. A little bit of sapwood left in there. It's a little bit on the inside, a little bit on the outside. So that's kind of a plus. And get some of the dirt. You can see my paper towel gets dirty, picking up the dust out of the grain. Should have went over it with a paper towel first. Would have pulled more of that out. I want to get it nice and dry. This time we will activate it. Just to get her started. It's really all we need. Need my cover for the live center so that we don't poke a hole. Piece of wax paper. That will be my barrier, which will stop the super glue from sticking fast to that piece of foam. Next challenge is to get it to where it spins at least halfway through. That should be it right there. It usually doesn't take much to sand those little nubs back off, because the sandpaper is hitting just those nubs as it starts out. So I started with 220, and I'm probably standing directly in front of where we're trying. Yep, sorry. So the nubs are gone. Trying to keep my big head out of the road this time. Using the cut edge of the sandpaper in there so that I don't mess up what's above it. So a little 320. Trick now is to round this corner over a little bit. A little bit of 400 so that everything's sanded the same. Time we'll clean the dust off. I still won't finish the complete bottom down there. Didn't get a whole lot of dust off of it anyhow, but got some. Still, as always, if you're watching and you like what you see, you could be so kind as to hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. Trick here is not to see how much I can get up over what I've already finished, because that will set up very quickly. And also will not be smooth when it sets up. Not the end of the world though. A little bit of tiny bit of sanding and away it'll go. Gonna have to put a drop of glue in that wormhole somehow or another from the other side. I didn't get that totally filled up. Will be now. Disappears down in that soft stuff very quickly. Get this wiped off the rim before it sets up. Dry the rest. And that'd be that. Easy peasy, quick and easy. Got 2 little squirts of activator, one on each side. No sticking because of the wax paper. So there's the tiny little earring ball. They're kind of popular with the ladies. They're also not very expensive, so they can buy something cheap and throw it on their dresser and put their earrings or jewelry of some sort on them. Other than that, one other little thing we're going to do, I'm going to go back and put my original piece back on that I started with and use some mineral spirits on it. And try and get some of the black to show back through like it should have originally. And then it will be ready for a coat of shellac. Not much worm screw sticking out there. Could have a little smaller piece. I'm not really doing any turning on this. I did have it spinning earlier, but I will have to turn a little bit on this. I will have to redo this tenon, whether I just make it smaller which will probably be the case. Let's make it smaller. A little carried away with the torch. Yeah, that's dry. I didn't have a very big tenon on it to start with. And then when you hit the torch as it hits that on that little edge, it did not do it really any justice. So just plain old mineral spirits. I'll go over the surface, and that should, at least it did with the little piece I had earlier today, should get some of the, you can see just pulling it back off. I may end up going through a couple of paper towels to get it clean. Because I want the black in between to show through. More so than what it is. It's definitely turning my paper towel purple very quickly. So we are getting it back off the surface. It's easier if I could see where I stopped, but some of it really is sort of a tighter grained piece of wood. It didn't quite get quite the effect I was looking for. I think that'll look pretty good from there. Just spin it around a couple times to make sure. And that I want to let that dry for a couple hours. Mineral spirits does not flash off very quick. And also reactivated the grain filler in that process. So I think that's where we'll leave it at for tonight. Call it a day. A little short stream than normal, but I got what I needed to get done. Show you a couple little pieces that I was playing with the other day. Actually, I did them on a live stream too, just because I was playing. And lots of little bits of, lots of little offcuts of, this is hackberry. So I dyed it and did the same thing with the grain filling on that. This one is same piece, it's the same hackberry. This one is purple. The purple is not real dark, and I put the gold on that one. These both need a coat of shellac, as well as when I put them back between centers, I'm going to take my burning wire and go back in there and try and turn that line nice and black before I put the shellac over. And then they'll get a coat or two of lacquer over top of that. That's my little bud vase. It's my daughter makes um, paper flowers using a little Cricut machine. I made a whole bunch of them the other day. She'll probably kill me when she sees all these. So that's a little bud vase. That one's about 3 inches high. There's two of them that are about the same, 3 inches high, something like that. First one was Bradford pear. This one's walnut. A little piece of black locust. Has black locust usually has some really interesting grain. That would have been another candidate that I could have turned black and did something else with, but I'm not overly interested in doing too terribly much work to them. They're not going to be a very big dollar kind of a thing. Just more to keep my daughter entertained and making her paper flowers. So, other than that, that is going to be a wrap for us tonight. Anybody have any questions, comments? Now's the time to speak up. Otherwise, you'll have a good week, and who knows, I might be on some other day this week. See what's going on. Till then, stay safe in your shops.